listen up. Hey, you, loosen up. Hey, you, listen up. Hey, you, loosen up. Hey, you, listen up. Hey, you, loosen up. Hey, you, listen up. Hey, you, loosen up. Hey, you.
Raider Fan Radio with ya, baby. What's going on? How y'all doing? It's Raider Rob, the beautiful Black Hole Steph, and Stoner Dude, the high one. Good to see all of y'all. It's going down here in Las Vegas. Everybody getting ready for the holiday season, and of course, as you can see, we feeling it too. You know, because we keep partying no matter what the record is.
We're gonna have fun anyways. Because that's just the way we do it.
Yeah.
Always. Yes, doing it live for you, baby. Good to see you.
Would I lie to you?
No, I wouldn't lie to you. Would we lie to you?
I would never lie to you.
We wouldn't lie to you and not tell you that your Raiders, man, our Raiders.
My Raiders, our Raiders.
Our
7-6.
We've been in this position before. And unfortunately, we'll probably be in a position again sometime. But right now, we just got to ride it out. See what we have. Be realistic about it. I know that's funny sounding for me because I'm not very realistic about anything. But I try to look on the positive, realistic side. We are where we're at right now. We're definitely not where we want to be. No. But unfortunately, yeah, the Raiders, it's very similar to what we saw last year when the big meltdown happened near the end of the year. You know, Coach Gruden always says every season is in 4 quarters because it's 16 games. And ultimately right now, the way we've ended the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, isn't looking so good, and December football is where we want to be.
Right.
This is December football.
Well, ultimately,
football.
I want to be in February football. Okay, I want to be in February football. It's called
playoffs.
Super Bowl. Okay,
Right.
Playoffs.
Okay, we got some catching up to do. Our nemesis, the Steelers, have 6. Our other nemesis from across the bay at our own home in Oakland and the motherland of the Raiders has 5.
Cowboys have 5.
You know, the punk-ass Broncos got 3. They tied us.
And the Kansas City Chiefs are catching up.
Yeah, so I'd like to see 3 more in the next 10 years.
But the Chargers
possible
have 0.
They'll always have 0.
Always remember that.
Always. San Diego, how you doing?
All you Chargers fans, you can like and subscribe over here. Right. Of course, that's the recent newest game with the Raiders.
All 12 of you that are in Los Angeles.
Of Los Angeles.
All 12 of you that are in Los Angeles.
I mean, they take the punishment every year, and they deserve it, rightfully so. And ever since you mentioned
they hate us. We hate them.
When you mentioned them wearing all their costume changes, and it's like, I noticed it. It's
that.
It's like a Diana Ross concert, man.
Man, it's like the Chargers have one outfit on one week.
What are we going to wear today?
Right.
But you see, I showed you it's been throughout decades, though.
Yeah,
it goes back to the late 60s and early 70s where every couple of years they've got all these different outfits on, but they're always losing.
It's because, exactly. They're not winning games. So
all dressed up and no way to win. But anyway, Like and subscribe below. Again, a shout out to all of you.
Share us.
Thank you so much for supporting what we're doing. We've been picking up a lot of new viewers.
New subscribers every year. Welcome, new subscribers.
Yes, welcome to the Raider Nation Raider Fan Radio, Raider Nation Hub, as they call it, the news hub. We are the number one sports entertainment internet radio
directly from Las Vegas.
Directly. So like and subscribe, man. Share us. Hope everybody's getting ready for Silver and Black holidays and all that as we get ready to roll in out of this 2020. We're going to be talking a little later on about Vaccination Nation. The vaccinations are rolling up to get you people who need to be inoculated and all of you that are feeling that you need to ward off this effects of 10 months of the COVID. Well, the vaccinations are being shipped out. So we'll talk about that a little later on. Got a special caller.
Speaking of COVID, does anybody have a COVID joint?
Yeah, we got a COVID joint.
Right. Light that up.
Anyway.
But before we get started with all that, you know me, I like to get a little bit of rock talk mixed in with my Raider talk and everything else that we're talking about tonight. It's almost Christmas time. And I was thinking to myself,
here comes Stoner Claus. Here comes Stoner Claus.
What could Raider Rob and Black Hole staff get Stoner Dude for Christmas? And I was hoping, I was like the little kid, dreaming, hoping.
Oh, God,
I went and saw Santa Claus behind the plexiglass at the mall.
I got some advice for you. Don't expect me to get your shit.
The little kids now, they got to wear the mask and they got to see Santa Claus behind the plexiglass. Santa glass. That has got to be traumatizing for a little kid, man.
It is.
I mean, growing up, we all grew up, we all saw Santa Claus and, made little wishes for Christmas. What did you usually wish for Christmas, Stephanie?
To get off of Santa's lap. I couldn't even understand why my parents were so against talking to strangers, and then they take and plop me on the lap of some dude that I don't know. I hated Christmas.
It sounds traumatizing.
Day. I am totally just bah humbug when it comes to it.
Did they have black Santas in Oakland?
They did have black Santas. They had plenty of black Santas. I have pictures.
They had no black Santas in Orange County?
No, they had no black Santas in
Anaheim. Shit.
I don't think I saw.
But they got a mouse walking around with big ears and a hat.
He's black. He's kind of both. He's black and he's white.
No, he is black.
He's really black. But that was. But there was a big political discussion a couple of years ago with one. I think it was Megyn Kelly.
Oh, God.
And she was like, Santa's white, and it's dude, Santa's not even real. Sorry, kids.
Hey, whoa! Don't blow it for everybody else.
That shit should have been blown a long time ago, like the World Trade Center. Okay, get the fuck out of here with that Santa Claus shit. I sat up one night, night, because I aspired
a little Raider Rob
to always stay up late. My mother used to say I was scared I was going to miss something. I hated to go to sleep and all that shit. I wanted to stay up all night. And finally, one Christmas, though, I did stay up all night. And I had to be about 7 or 8. And I stayed in my window on my knees looking out the window because I had enough of this bullshit, about this character who was in this red suit, who was, and I was a pretty perceptive, smart guy, and I realized that on East 28th and 23rd Avenue in East Oakland, there wasn't a lot of fucking chimneys, and, a lot of mugs wasn't getting a lot of new shit that didn't come out the trunk of a car out of a fucking ripped open box, so I decided this night I was going to test this shit because I was having my doubts about adults, you know what I'm saying? And
adults, they'll let you down every time.
So Stone can get back to his story here, but consequently, I did make it through the night, at least until what I thought had been early enough for this cocksucker to show up. It's fucking about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Of course, there's no snow on the ground. It's Oakland, California, so that whole element shot for bullshit. And he never showed up. I looked out my window. I saw planes going to the Oakland airport and shit like that all night. But the bottom line was Santa never showed up in East Oakland on my block. And that's when I gave up on this shit.
Sorry to hear that. Well,
it's been a long time.
It doesn't mean that I can't hope and dream.
Yeah, you can.
Just because you had some bad times, doesn't mean that I can't,
Fuck you.
Well, just recently, the great Neil Peart, the drummer from Rush.
Yes.
Long time, the professor, as we all know him.
Yes.
His drum set off the first 3 albums, the first 3 albums he was on. The first one he wasn't on, that was John Rutsey. But the second one, Fly By Night, Caress of Steel, then the big groundbreaking 2112. That drum set It's a Slingerland drum set wrapped in chrome wrap, nicknamed Chromie.
The one on
So that drum set, nicknamed Chromie, just auctioned off for $500,000, $500,000.
Wow.
I was hoping maybe it might be under my Christmas tree, know, but somebody, a lucky motherfucker, got it. Lucky dude. Yeah, well, anyways, it's good to know that, somebody's out there still beating up on those drums. I know I would. Good for you, anyways. But anyways, also, I figured that'll be a good way to segue now also to what we're going to be doing next week. Tonight's what, show 11? It goes to 11.
Let me ask you something, though.
11.
Man,
11.
$500,000. Now, I know how big of a Neil Peart fan you were. I even went to an MGM show with you one time. And
the greatest rock drummer of... I will argue any day. Go ahead and talk about John Bonham and all the other great ones.
Getting ready to go see them on their farewell tour. And I hung out with you earlier that day. And
you dropped me off at the MGM.
And it was festive. And I know about Rush and all that. But I want to ask you, though, in regards to just more specifically that auction, $500,000, like, rock memorabilia, music memorabilia, sports memorabilia, has had a long history of, really being a lucrative industry. And of course, Sotheby's, the auction house in New York that's real famous.
Especially now it's all done on the internet, too. Everyone's buying everything on the internet.
Between the two of you and myself, too, what would be something like from pop culture or the music world that you would want to own if you could, in memorabilia-wise? You guys ever thought about that?
Wow. I recently looked through, I think it was Slash was starting to auction off things. And I just happened to catch that and started looking through his collection. And
okay.
I don't exactly know what I would want right now. I mean, the classic thing would be,
it's Christmas.
A guitar.
It's Christmas. What rock memorabilia would you want for Christmas
Jimi Hendrix's guitar.
Which one, though?
The one that he set on fire. I want it like
it's on fire. It's gone.
Yay! But if some
we're gonna get that on the screen for sure.
From Monterey.
Yeah,
the one from Monterey. The ashes of Jimi Hendrix guitar.
It's a red guitar, red Fender Strat shape. It's hand painted. He painted on that guitar. He hand painted on that guitar. Especially before that night at Monterey. We all know because we actually all performed together on that stage at Monterey, where Jimi Hendrix actually burned the famous Voodoo Child guitar. But anyways, that would be a good one. That's kind of hard to top. I mean, okay, we got Neil Peart's drum set. We got Jimi Hendrix guitar. Of course, I would love to have Frankenstein, Eddie Van Halen's guitar. That'd probably be my... I mean, this is the year you'd want to have Eddie Van Halen's guitar. So I just throw that out there.
Yeah.
I think it's going to the Smithsonian Institute or I'm sure Wolfgang owns it. He's probably the guy who owns it right now.
Right.
But,
he owns all of them.
Well, anyways, Wolfgang, if you're watching and you want to give me a Christmas present, send it right here to RaiderFanRadio.Vegas.
Along those lines, I've thought about it. I'd love to have a Chuck Berry guitar, particularly the one that he played back during Rocket 88. And, not Rocket 88, that's Ike Turner. Back during Lucille and all that. So, that would be one. Another one would be, I'd love to get one of the zebra striped chairs from the Jungle Room at Graceland.
Oh, man.
That would look good right here.
Or right here. He had those wraparound,
we'll have the guests,
type of lounge chairs and shit.
We'd have Al Davis right here hanging out on the left the zebra chair.
A Bernie Worrell Moog. One of Bernie Worrell's original Moogs, the great Parliament Funkadelic keyboardist and, virtuoso, man, that I was fortunate enough to know in my lifetime. And one last one would be Michael Jackson's black sequin jacket he had from the Victory Tour that he usually put on just before Billie Jean. And I got to see the Victory Tour down in L.A. at the Dodger Stadium, man, and back in Tennessee, Lexington, Kentucky.
The last one I'll put on that list would be...
but those are
when the
Who
did one of their live appearances on TV. I forgot which show. Now I got to find out. Keith Moon put an explosive in his bass drum.
The Smothers Brothers show.
That's it.
Smothers
and it blew up. And it was way too much explosive.
Yeah.
Way too much explosive. Keith Moon put in his bass drum, or he had his guy, his drum tech.
Right.
And it was so explosive and so combustible, it literally blew up half the stage he was on. And Pete Townsend, to this day, He talks about lost his hearing because of rock and roll. I think he lost it probably because of that one performance. It was that bad. So that would be cool to have that bass drum or some pieces of that bass drum.
Cool.
Yet as rock and roll,
you got me going.
Yet rock and roll and music is prone to do. There are moments that iconolize a certain part of the genre, and that moment though helped spear in the big tech at that time. In the 70s, late 60s, the big technical shows with flash pots and flash bombs and smoke and ice machines and all that.
Shit up.
That performance is what really spearheaded with bands and managers were like, well, let's get some explosives on stage and blow up shit.
And then eventually
Kiss, of course.
Kiss came around, and of course.
Parliament has a spaceship. I mean, it got crazy, man. So anyway, that's a good one. God bless Neil Peart, man. Yes, most definitely.
Okay,
$500,000. Shit.
That's
next time you have $500,000, I want you to think about me. At RaiderFanRadio.Vegas. Okay, well, anyways, all that aside, now there was actually a game played this last weekend. We got only a few left on the schedule right now. We're down to 3 games left for the season. Our playoff game already pretty much started with the Colts. And unfortunately, that one didn't turn out.
The Raiders drowned in the rivers of Philip.
Oh, damn.
He was
His cup runneth over.
He was playing like a 29-year-old quarterback.
We talked about
in his contract year.
Yeah.
Okay, he is still prone to whoop our ass, and he is still prone to get out there and is the true example
Go watch show number 10.
Not blinking in the face of anything.
Yeah.
Like we said in last week's show. And if you look at some of these young gunslingers, Lamar Jackson against Cleveland and Baker Mayfield, the duel that they had in their game this past
Monday
week.
night, yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, who overcame a 30-yard sack in Miami. All right, Josh Allen, the whooping that he put, the technical clinic, a precise passing that he put in, and just that confidence in willing that Bills team to beat a pretty stout Pittsburgh team up until the last 2 games. I ask you all Raider fans, all of you that are into stats, all of you that are into forgiving, all of you that are so into believing that your quarterback is on par with some of those quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson the other night.
Oh, man.
How many times did he have to call timeout?
He didn't. He just
How many times did he have to fucking look over there at the coach and go, what do I do? Mm-hmm. How many times was he doing this shit? Like, how many times was he at the line looking over at the, looking over at the linebackers and, Where? Where is that motherfucker on your team? In number 4. That spirit, that intensity, that confidence, that execution.
Mm-hmm. Is this a rhetorical question?
No, it's a question that's retroactive and concurrent. Like a prison sentence, because that's what the fuck I feel like I'm in. With all these years and years and years and years of these mediocre ass, backyard quarterbacks, man. Where do you see that for all of you that are car protectors, and swing on his jock? Where do you see that in him?
Yeah. How do you get
Where do you see getting from, I'm with you. Okay, Carr's the quarterback. Okay, fine. How much longer do you give him before he's even at the level of a Baker Mayfield from the other night?
Baker Mayfield put up 42 points against the Ravens.
Baker Mayfield would not be denied. And he was going to duel Lamar Jackson.
He did it to the
that is one of the greatest
game.
Passing and quarterback duels that I have seen. And Baker Mayfield, for all the flack he's been getting the last 2 years, which is on par with some of the flack that us in the Raider Nation give Carr. Okay, and he's running around, he lives inside the stadium, but they're doing a great job marketing him and all that. But this kid is cocky, but he's assured again, like a young Phillip Rivers was.
Yeah. Very assured, very confident.
I'm here to play football, and I'm here to win. I'm here to fight. And that's what you're seeing in Herbert. That's what you see in Mahomes. Go ahead, Steph.
Notice in all of those
that you don't see in number 4.
There was that communication on the sideline with their receivers. all of them got on this in between plays when their defense was on the field. They were on the sideline trying to figure out, okay, what did I go wrong? Did I miss this? Okay, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to be on the field? And that kind of communication is so lacking because number 4, he's sitting on the sideline by himself. He's not talking to anyone. It's not that interaction with your receivers after you fuck up. And you're like, okay, what can I do this time to make sure that doesn't happen again? And that's what I mean by feeling like you've arrived.
Communication is key.
It is
I can't
key.
argue with that. I always think about the old days.
Chemistry.
Remember the old photos of Joe Montana drawing on the sideline on the field,
yes,
in the dirt,
yes,
about to go out and win a championship. We don't see any that type of interaction. And look, I'm the Carr guy. I am a Carr fan. I've supported him from the beginning, and I still support Derek Carr because right now he's still my quarterback, and there's still games to be played. But I absolutely understand 100% your points that you're making, that many fans have been making over this past few years. I mean, there's the ones that are supporting him, and the ones that are completely ripping him apart. But that's what happens in football. That's what happens in the seriousness of millionaires. These kids are millionaires, man, multi-millionaires. And for me, I see a lot of other off-the-field type of moves to help move forward. But when it comes to the game time, the moment of what's going on, yes, 100% I agree that we need to see more of an offense that is like a band.
Right.
Last week we talked about our top 5 bands, rock bands, and it's a sum of all parts. And it's a constant communication. The show is not over till that 60 minutes is over.
We see flashes of the parts working when you see what happened with Ruggs and Algahar, how we were able to stretch the field early, and you saw our DNA. And when we were playing that way, striking down the field, looking to get more than just 6 and 5 and 3 yards here and there, really challenging the defense, we came out with successful drives. There's still an allergy, an allergic reaction to the red zone when it comes to number 4. But for the most part, you see the flashes of what can be. And I'm sick of these moments because I saw the moments of what I thought could be with Andrew Walter. I saw moments of what I thought could be at times with Jamarcus Russell, believe it or not, if he would just.
When did you see that?
And Andrew Walter. There were certain times that he threw a nice pass here and there or made a completion in the clutch or something that, in a clutch moment where you just like, if that could be,
Well, Jamarcus Russell is the epitome of all talent and not a football player.
Right.
To me, that's the bottom line.
Definitely not a leader.
Right. Well,
But I get it, man. 100%. Like I said, you just went down the whole list of all the top young quarterbacks of the NFL that are, it's funny you bring that up to me anyways, because over the past year or so, I was wondering who was that next class of young quarterback going to be, knowing that Tom Brady and Drew Brees and all these different quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, they're all either retired or they're going to retire very soon. So it's like, where are all these names going to pop up? And all of a sudden, you're right. We've got a long list, and that list keeps growing. And all of a sudden, right now, we grew up at a time where young quarterbacks meant sitting on the bench for a year or two.
Not anymore, baby.
This is like you come right out of college. If you're the best at what you do, Trevor Lawrence is going to be expected to win a Super Bowl his first year. That's the kind of expectation. That's the kind of money they make. But at the same time, that's certainly the kind of talent.
Well, that's the type of mentality, though, that number 4 came into the league under, where you had that changing perspective happening more and more in the NFL, where we're throwing you to the wolves. And so he hasn't been cheated with the opportunity to improve. Right now, he should be in the top 5 or 10 class in professional football, being that he comes in with the class that's between the Rodgers and between the Breezes and between the
he should be the KC veteran right now.
The Matt Ryans and the Matt Staffords.
He should be right at the prime.
He should be the bridging, of these young quarterbacks to, like I said, the aging quarterbacks that I just mentioned.
Josh Allen and
he's not.
Justin Herbert are all of a sudden passing him up really quick.
And I wish you would fucking email me at RaiderFanRadio@gmail or put it down in the comments. When is it going to happen? When? Week after week, are you going to see the type of performances
Derek Carr, contact us
that
anytime you
equal
want
up
at RaiderFanRadio.
to the domination that you see with the quarterbacks, particularly in the AFC right now, that whenever he does get his shit together, he would have to compete against to get to the playoffs and end the playoffs. He's not even beating Ryan Tannehill next week if it's a playoff game. I'm sorry to tell y'all that. But shit'll get off the pot.
You mean Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Somebody convince me when it's going to happen.
Or is it Tua Tagovailoa?
How much longer do you wait?
I don't know. Another couple of years for some people.
No.
Well, ultimately, regardless of the situation with the quarterback that we're all pretty much familiar with now and have talked and beaten to the ground over and over and over, we will as long as Derek Carr's here.
I'm not going to beat in the ground.
No, that's the kind of criticism he's going to always get from this point on.
Heck you throw a pick six in two, you fumble twice in 2 games. Come on.
Blown out by 40 or more points 2 of the last 3 weeks, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes, and of course, we know a lot of that's the defense.
Well, yeah, pretty much. All that pretty much teeters now to what ultimately resulted from this last week going into now the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare, especially in a situation, the Raiders, with the relationship between Coach Gruden and Paul Guenther, that you would see him fire his bro, someone he brought in and said, I'm going to build this franchise with this guy, Paul Guenther, man, and it's going to work. And look, to me, this isn't really an indication as far as my judgment on Gruden's call, but the point being is that that's how much was invested into what they brought in. Mm-hmm. So to be at this point of the season where you have to fire your friend, your bro, someone you brought in at this point of the season because of the disgust that fans and viewers have been watching all year long with our defense. Sure, we had a few good moments here and there along the way. Yeah, we got that big P word potential that we're always looking at as far as the talent that we have, but we don't have all the talent that we need. And when you fire Paul Guenther like that, that sends a big ass message.
Well, it says that our coaching too is suffering defensively. That's the bottom line with a move like that, is that defensively there's no balance. The offense is comparable. The offensive is competitive, and, Chucky can't be let off the hook either. More imagination. I got my reasons why I believe he can't do more that he would like to do with the offense. But still, we're going to need another big back. You're going to need another wide receiver to complement what Ruz can do and whatever Edwards shows back up. But defensively, firing Guenther, and I was on a site a couple days ago, Pro Football Talk, and there was a story about the firing. And I went into the comments, and 70% of the comments from Raider fans was like, "This should have happened 4 weeks ago."
Right. We talked
where the
about
mentality is, if you had made the change earlier, we probably wouldn't be sitting at 7-6.
We thought we'd at least be finishing the season
9-2 or something
Guenther.
like that right now.
I think I'll go even further back though in time, when Raiders hired Rod Marinelli. Mm-hmm. I knew in my mind, and I'm sure a lot of us did as well too, it was kind of the writing on the wall in the sense that, he came in as the D-line coach, but this is a guy he's a
coordinator. Yeah, he's a coordinator. Yeah,
he was a head coach under Matt Millen hired with the Lions for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And he won a Super Bowl with the defense with Coach Gruden against us with the Raiders.
Right.
And that was with Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice and
Derek Brooks, John Lynch.
Yeah, John Lynch. You had one of the great defenses actually that is really being argued as maybe one of the best anyways ever. Up there with the 85 Bears.
At least in the 2000s,
Fearsome Four, some of the greats. So the bottom line is that when you know that you're, say, Paul Guenther's situation where it was kind of like his job to lose or his job to keep if the defense produced. But if not, Rod Marinelli's just sitting right there, ready to go.
Suffered from not making adjustments, as we say. You've got to make adjustments. You've got to be in-game adjusting, but you also have to come out each week with a balance of intensity, execution, and just tackling, which the Raiders are still suffering from. Our run defense is atrocious. You said it earlier this season, Swiss cheese. It's
Swiss cheese defense.
I mean, it's just, it's just grab, like the great Vince Lombardi has said, and no one's tackling. And, again, mental decisions. Abram, dude, stop, man. You are going to fucking knock yourself out of the league, man.
And the dumbass penalties.
And the dumb penalties, too, resurface.
We know you're a tough guy. We love you. You've got everybody's praise. We love your energy and intensity. But when you go out and just in the middle of the field put a hit on somebody just to show what kind of a tough dude you are, you get 15-yard penalties. I mean, George Atkinson, I used to hear him say this all the time, when you give away penalties that's like giving away free money. Like, you're just giving it all away. Mm-hmm. And with all the work and time that the team puts in, the coaches put in to go out and win games, and you do stupid shit like that, okay, I get it, you're young and, you're doing your thing, but I'm telling you right now, I mean, I'm sure I know Coach Gruden, for the first time this last press conference after the game, the post-game press conference, he really, without using the words that we wanted to hear, he was saying it straight out. He was calling everybody out. And that's what I love about Coach Gruden, because he tries to be as diplomatic and as quiet to the vest as he can, right. But he also says shit, and it's usually intentional, and it's always loud and clear.
When you see players acting out like that, and you're in these pivotal moments of a season, and you have talk from the outside saying, hey, there's a problem in the locker room, or there's a problem with the coaches, or this and that and the other, players will be the first ones to let you know if that's true or not, because they will do things like stupid mental penalties, that's like right. Abrams doing. You will have execution issues and, lack of effort at times, and I don't think anybody's quitting or quit on Gunther, but, it's glaring that, the players in some way were not responding, obviously.
Right. And when you have a leadership problem like that with coaching, and your players are doing the opposite of what it is that you want them to do, then of course, your days are numbered. I thought that there was some improvement there. You could clearly see that they were trying to get different looks.
Right.
But there were some mistakes that were consistent also. And I think it was Crunch Bar I was talking to that said, dude, 30 points a game they're averaging giving up.
Right.
And that's
points allowed, yeah.
That's a tough sell.
It seems to be that most of the wide receivers of the opposing teams find big, wide open spaces where there's nobody around. Yes. Right at the end of the game when it's crucial. Estate. I don't get that part. I mean, look, I'm not a football player. I don't do this for a living, but I know that it's somebody's job to make sure that this guy who's famous for scoring touchdowns is running past me, and he's going to the end zone at the end of the game, and nobody's covering him.
Well, Gunther, too, was playing an old defensive, especially a defensive coordinator that isn't sure either of his talent or sure if he's getting through to the team and they're able to execute to what he wants, which is he'll play cushion defense, zone, which is 5, 7, 10 yards off the line for your DBs, 5 for the linebackers, and you hope that you keep everything in front of you.
Right,
and it's a combination of prevent, and that's why we get carved up like we do, like he says, with wide receivers running these little skinny slants and these little curl patterns and these little 10-yard fades, and they're gone, because they get behind the defense because of that zone and people not picking up their assignments, misdirection, on the defense. And so it's communication, yes, it's execution, and it's most definitely coaching, and he remedied that now. Now that he's remedied that and fired Gunther, Rod Marinelli, does he stay as the permanent DC, or do we look at also other defensive coordinators?
That's interesting to me
because I got a few out here I'd like to see. I want to hear silver and black.
I want to hear the list, but my thoughts on that are that it was Paul Gunther's job to win or lose. Now I think it might be Rod Marinelli's. In other words, I think Rod Marinelli wants to be the defensive coordinator for the Raiders. And he's already there, and he's got 3 games that kind of start to prove himself a little bit, although with the talent that we don't have, I don't see how he's going to really do that. That'll be on him. But the point being is that I think he's going to want to be the defensive coordinator. And what do you do if he doesn't? I know you got the list, and I'm sure we'll be looking at a lot. That's the beauty of it. We're in Vegas now. Everybody wants to be a Raider now. They all want to be our coaches. They want to be our players. They want to come and watch the games. But anyways, I think Rod Marinelli at least is in a position where I think his enthusiasm and his desire puts him at least in the top candidate right now for possibly being the future defensive coordinator.
Gruden's familiar with him. Like you said, it was no secret that, if there was going to be an opening at defensive coordinator, he was going to move up from defensive line coach, So, like you said, that wasn't a secret. So now that moment has arrived, is he the guy, depending on what happens towards the end of the season, with the end of the season, the last 3-4 games, and then what the approach is going to be going into next year when we start talking about the draft and getting around that time, and what Gruden will do ultimately between January and April. So, it's up in the air, but.
We got a caller on.
Oh, we got a caller.
We have a caller.
We got a caller.
Is it Santa's ass?
Who is it? Is it Crunch?
Of course it is.
Raider Crunch, what's up, baby?
Well, I just shut the TV off so I can call in the show. How y'all doing, man?
Oh, we're doing great, man. It's the great Raider Crunch from the Raider Nation, Oakland Raider Nation, and, of course, one of your more popular and well-known costume fans over the last 20 years. Crunch, we're sitting here getting ready to break down the defensive coordinator position, but Stone just, pointed out a lot when it comes to the defense. Let's start with that when it comes to, what you might want to say here when it comes to the Raiders. We know you're here also to honor and going to talk about honoring a great original Raider, but now that we're in the throes of what's going on, this defense, Stone just broke it down. What do you say to that?
Well, I couldn't hear what Stone said, but I start right where at this stat that I figured out on my own. I'm not a stat guy, but I figured this one out. We're getting up 33 points a game. Okay, I mean it's impossible to win in a pro football level when you're giving up that many points a game. We're 7-6 now. We probably ought to be 2-11 with that kind of that lack of defensive production. It's insane that we've done as well as we have so far this year.
Yeah.
But we're being exposed everywhere. We barely beat a Jets team with a miracle. We got killed by Atlanta. It was 37 points, but to a 3-7 team.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a break.
Right.
Can't do that.
Right.
We cannot do that.
Yeah. So what do you think fixes it? Gunther's fired. Marinelli plays out the season. Do you go new DC next year?
Maybe. Marinelli's a very good one. We'll see how that goes. It's not my decision to make, obviously, but at least
No.
I thought you were going to make a decision.
I thought you were
What are we
saying
talking here for?
Correct.
I want to talk to the guy who makes all the decisions.
you hired the wrong goddamn guy, Stone.
Yeah, and also Crunch doesn't have a bowl haircut. So,
He could be one. He's got those cool glasses, though.
He's got cool glasses.
And he's kind of like Clark Kent.
He doesn't, yes. Well,
Totally.
a lot better looking than Bowl Cut.
Yeah.
Went around like Prince Valiant and shit. But Crunch, offensively, we like Stone said, we beat the dead horse with number 4. But what happens there now that we have gotten blown out second time in 3 weeks by 40 points or more, and just you've recognized the ineffectiveness in the quarterback too.
Yeah, Carr is throwing interceptions, especially late in the game. And when a game's on the line, we cannot hand the ball, give the ball away to the other team. So maybe it's about time we start looking at options other than Carr. We did bring in Mariota in the off season, but is he even back yet?
No.
Okay. Well, then a lot of good that did us.
He's a good bench warmer.
Yeah.
He's a high-paid bench warmer.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we still need to take a look at the position there. At least give Carr some competition at a minimum.
Yeah.
At a minimum, because come on, like I said, you can't throw the ball away at the end of the game with the game on the line. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the early days of the Raiders being established and throwing the ball and establishing this identity that has lived for 60-plus years now. There were a lot of great Raiders, and, of course, in your book, you looked and dove deep into the history of a lot of the original players that made up the team. And, unfortunately, I understand we have lost one of the great original Oakland Raiders. Why don't you give us the rundown on Mr. Lauderback there?
Yeah, Tom Lauderback, San Jose State guy, got drafted by the Redskins and didn't play in Washington, but he went and played in the CFL before played in Philly for a couple of years, and then ended up in the AFL. Really, really good middle linebacker. In the early days, those early Raider teams weren't much, but we had good linebackers. We had that going for us at least.
Right.
And Tom was in the middle. He was our first middle linebacker. We had Bob Doherty there and Riley Morris, who we got out of actually the Los Angeles Chargers the first time, and they formed, for a couple of years, one of the best linebacking corps in the old American Football League.
Okay.
1960.
Was he an All-Pro or anything like that? Did he get any accolades as a player?
No, actually.
Just a boring-ass guy that showed up at Frank Yule on Sundays and...
Oh, actually, no. He never played at Frank Yule Field.
Okay.
He was as a visitor. He played at Candlestick, and then actually Keysar before that. So, he was the very first guy. He was there for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, But later on, he opened up Bay Area Beverage Company, so his company supplied all the beer to the Coliseum. I'm sure you appreciate that from him.
Oh, yeah, we've all appreciated that a lot.
Well, I drank my beer outside and brought it with me, as you know, so I appreciate
I did
it.
both. I start outside and I go inside and I just keep going.
I only gave the Coliseum money during the summer. A's games is when I buy beers. I didn't give him shit for football. Did he have a reputation or anything, Crunch?
No,
Did he eat glass or anything like that?
They were the free characters, but he was actually one of the guys that actually really cared about what I was doing, and he got into it. He was actually quite appreciative of it.
Right on.
In fact, I still got the card that he sent me many years ago. It's one of my
right
prized
on.
possessions now.
Right on.
He was the only guy that did, actually.
And was he still residing in the Bay over all those years?
No, he moved up to Reno. He lived out the rest of his life in Reno.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lauderback, a great Raider, original Raider, and we give our condolences to his family and the Lauderback family in Reno, Nevada. And Crunch, as always, a historian as well as a great fan, giving us the lowdown and a short little rundown, though, of one of the important cogs of the early Oakland Raiders. They all matter. Once a Raider, always a Raider, except for Warren Sapp's motherfucking ass. Philip Buchanan's not always a Raider, once a Raider.
Yeah, Philip Buchanan.
Fuck Randy Moss. Okay, I don't want to see any goddamn reviews either and all that. Anyway.
Thanks,
Crunch Bar. Appreciate you.
Later, Crunch.
All right, guys. Love you guys.
Yes, love you too. So DC coordinators. I like Mike.
You're back to your list.
Mike Singletary.
You've already got a list.
Mike Singletary is one. Wherever he is, screaming at gophers some fucking way. All right, or little high school kids are doing commercials.
He's teaching in high school or college. I'll be honest, I don't know, but
he's on a commercial here. He's on a commercial screaming at players. And shit. So that's what gave me the idea.
But he's still doing. I know. Yeah, he's still out there screaming. I love Michael Singletary. I mean,
one of the architects,
one of the great linebackers
of the 46 defense of Buddy Ryan's great 1985 Chicago Bears team. Another one of mine who was quietly, I caught him, slipping into the coaching game a few years ago, and then really saw the impact
right in there
that he was having with the Packers about 5 years ago, and after their championship runs, and just helping mold that defense from 5 years ago. A great linebacker in his day who played for the Rams and the Steelers, respectively, Kevin Green, who was moving up the coaching ranks. Right now,
that's intriguing to me.
Yeah, you like that?
Well, put it this way. As far as Kevin, the story some of us who are into NFL Network and all the old football shows go through the whole history of Kevin Green. We've, of course, grew up and know Kevin Green from his actual football career.
Right.
But he's one of those guys that we went right into coaching right after he was a player.
Exactly.
And he's as awesome a player or personality you would ever get to be in a room and get everybody's attention and play for. His energy is unmatched.
He's paying his dues, and he's one of these coaches that I think we should probably give an eye to, because he's one of those that are in this cycle of coaches that are making a run up the ladder towards being defensive coordinator or being assistant coach.
Mike Vrabel went up like that.
Exactly. That's a great example. Great example.
Mike, when it comes to Mike Vrabel, I'll be honest, I wasn't really aware of all that coaching experience he had.
Right.
He just all of a sudden he's the head coach for the Tennessee Titans.
Right.
And he's got the team playing hard and playing to his identity, too, of what he wants to put
Kevin
out
Green
there.
also is the outside linebackers coach for the New York Jets, who we played a couple weeks ago, and I have to give it to him. The Jets defense and the particular linebackers look pretty good. Okay, they did look pretty good, even though they give up all the points, and of course they're no-winded so far this year. But
that's a Greg Williams defense.
Yeah, his linebacking core wasn't too shabby. Todd Bowles, who is currently with the Bucks, he's a guy that will jump ship at the right price. And so another guy that's moving up the ladder in the coaching ranks. Another guy I like.
It's interesting to me that all these players have moved into the coaching ranks on not just linebackers and defensive players. Frank Reich. With the Indianapolis Colts.
Exactly.
It's just happening more often, where it's like all of a sudden you're seeing these guys who are great players not too long ago too.
Right.
It seems, and all of a sudden now they're head coaches for teams.
Right.
And they're actually doing good jobs. I mean, they're producing, they're winning games. It's not just your standard kind of regurgitation of old offensive coordinator. We still got this young Schottenheimer and the young Belichick and the young. Who's over there at San Francisco? San Francisco 49ers. Shanahan.
The rat.
Yeah.
You know, we have that still going too, which is kind of cool.
Rat.
I like to see these.
Mike Shanahan, the rat.
I like to see the expertise and skills passed along, of course, to their younger generation.
And somebody who I think that's still playing that we just played, who I think is possibly a future head coach, is Phillip Rivers. You know, Phillip Rivers knows football, man.
Oh, yeah.
And
Phil Rivers.
particularly as an
he looks like he could be a Cowboy coach. He's got the haircut.
So
that's another situation where people talk about stats. The week prior to this, week 10, Phillip Rivers was placing right behind or ranking right behind Derek Carr. And look at the difference. That just tells you that stats doesn't mean anything. Yes, Phillip Rivers will throw some INTs, you pressure him, and all of that. But at the same time, he has the football acumen to get through all situations. And he's great. He's an AFC slinger. So he's going to be somebody that you've got to look out for defensively, and you've got to attack. And we did not do that. We
The Raiders did not even hit Phillip Rivers.
Right.
Not once. The one thing that the Raiders had to their advantage against the Colts was that they had quote-unquote old man Rivers, right? The guy that's been around for years. He's got to have toe surgery this week. All these things are stacked against him. He's not as mobile as he used to be. But the Raiders didn't get to him once. That's how bad they were. That's how bad.
Like I say, we
bad enough
drowned
to get your defensive coordinator fired that night.
We drowned in old man's rivers, like I said. But anyway, there were some bright spots. Foster Moreau, thank you, man. You had me going back, remembering old Dave Casper, man.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I was good. I was
a
wondering
couple
last
open
week.
field jukes to remind me of our old friend of the show, Jeremy Brigham, about 10 years ago. But
Number 87. I
Foster
was
Moreau.
thinking about him because you haven't really seen a lot of him.
Right.
And last year, before he got injured, he was catching the ball downfield. I mean, he was a threat all around the field, not just blocking. So that was pretty much his first big play of the year right now. It's just good to see him back in action and making plays because we need everybody we can get. We need everybody to make a play from this point on out. That's all there is
Also,
to it.
props again, third weeks in a row to Stones boy Nick Morrow playing solidly and stable, although he did go down with an injury.
he got hurt at the end.
And just a number of players went down. Lawson, there were a few of them. I mean, again, fallen millionaires, man. You know, this shit is just becoming
Another millionaire laid out.
epidemic out here, man. You know, we're going to need a shot for it or something. You know, but yeah. Like I said, overall, good to see pass, keep passing, find a way. My boy Hunter Renfrow slot machine, it's all good, dude. You're going to have those type of games, but I love that you had the emotion behind you to realize you made a couple mistakes and just seeing that attitude in you that you don't want to make them. I know that you won't make many of them, but those things are going to happen. Don't be too hard on yourself, all right, Hunter? You're going to have a great career, and if I have my way, an old friend of yours will be coming next year.
I think Johnathan Abram could learn from Hunter Renfrow in a situation like that.
How so?
Just as far as there's obviously a big value on the field to be even keeled, confident, knowing you made a mistake, and still being able to be a professional and go out there and keep playing, as opposed to becoming a loose cannon and making big mistakes that are going to put your team in harm's way or to where you could lose.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
well, he's taking on leadership qualities, and that's what Stone's talking about. And got no problem with Hunter Renfrow being a leader. I think
and that unit, that whole receiving core is tight. You know, they support one another. They are on the sideline communicating after a play. You know, if they missed something or if they did well. I mean, they're a unit that's tight, and I think just more opportunities given will be the success of the Raiders.
Speaking of the wide receivers, has anybody seen Brian Edwards anywhere?
Yeah, I saw him. Edwards? I saw him. He was in the Palms the other night.
Yeah, Brian Edwards. Hey, where's Brian Edwards?
He was in the Palms.
He needs to do a show.
He was in the Palms.
Looking for Brian Edwards.
He was in the Palms the other night loitering.
Oh, no.
Around the Buffalo Stomp slot machine. No. I don't know where he is. That's what I'm saying. We're going to need another wide receiver.
We're going to need him now.
I don't know what his
deal is. We need him this week.
I don't know what his deal is. Hey, as we do here on Raider Fan Radio, we do have a dedication tonight, man.
Dedication, DEAD.
Dedication. To a great actor and a pop culture phenomenon that many of us know, of course, from the great movie Friday. A few days ago, unfortunately, lost the great character actor Tommy Tiny Lister Jr., better known as Deebo from the
They
Friday
always call the
franchise.
biggest ones tiny.
Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that funny? But he was a very formidable actor, and go ahead. No, go ahead.
I say it. I keep thinking about, they call him tiny. When you're a little, no one's to call him the little guy. Hey, what's up, giant?
Yeah, right. What's up, big? What's up, big? How you doing, big? Nah, you're always little. Or you'll be little. Lil. Lil. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we want to dedicate the show tonight to Deebo, as you all know, and he was affectionately known as the world's favorite bully, most favorite bully, and his performance in Friday is iconic, of course. And for some of you youngsters, if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out. And next Friday, too. But he also had a career where I first saw Tiny was when he was in the WWF in the mid-'80s to late '80s as Zeus, who was a new character that popped up as a pseudo-partner to Hulk Hogan.
What I liked about Zeus, he would
Remember Zeus?
Zeus was like Hulk Hogan, first of all, is, to me, one of the great iconic... One of the great fake wrestlers, of course, but the great wrestlers, the characters in wrestling.
The character wrestling.
Okay, Hulk Hogan's just up, Andre the Giant.
Right.
And look, I'm not I don't know everything about wrestling. To me, it's when you're on the outside looking in and you see the ones that stand out to you. Those are the ones that become the popular stars, anyway.
Right.
Hulk Hogan. So anybody in Hulk Hogan's universe, of course,
Yeah.
I was always at least aware of.
Right.
So to see him in the ring and being like the villain, against Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
That's awesome, because a hero's got to have a villain, man. And to me, that's where he made his bones, and of course, where everybody knew him. I also know him. I think I probably know him also most iconically in the Batman movie with Heath Ledger played the Joker. We all did see that. Together in Oakland at midnight at one of the midnight theaters. What was that? Wasn't that place in Oakland?
Grand Lake Theater.
Yeah, old awesome theater. And he was like he was the dude in the whole movie that fucked it up for the Joker.
Yep.
When he throws out the little controller.
Right.
But you never forget the look that he had. Like you said, character actor, so much personality, a look, an image, and he's the big guy. But of course, I was also aside from that, being such a big, intimidating guy, his whole thing was he was a born again Christian.
Yeah.
In other words, he was a good guy.
Yeah. And a proud native of Compton, California.
Yes.
He would let you know that. But he in that movie famously said, I'm going to do what y'all should have done a long fucking time ago before he
in the orange jumpsuit.
Right. Also, most iconically, he was also known as the president in Fifth Element.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, he was also one of the goons in Trespass, a great hood classic that starred the late Bill Paxton.
I love Trespass.
Trespass, yes. 8 Million Ways to Die. He was in Jackie Brown as a bounty hunter. And just overall played in a lot of different music videos and hip-hop videos. And so closely associated with Dr. Dre's camp and Snoop Dogg's camp, too, in L.A. So just an iconic player of Hollywood all around.
62 years young.
And unfortunately, days leading up in his final days, he had become sick, coughs, and what have you. This is a big guy, Deebo was about 6'2", 6'3".
He was a big, strong dude.
Yeah, 270 to 300 pounds.
He started off as a shot putter.
Yeah.
Even before that in high school at
Right.
Long Beach.
Strong to be
So he's a big,
putter.
strong guy his whole entire life.
Exactly. And, a guy that felt that he was getting sick, and at the time we were hearing about the pending vaccination releases and what have you. And according to the sources related to his story, he was trying to get himself to a hospital, hoping that he could check himself in and be in the hospital now as the vaccinations were getting released, and he might have been one of the first recipients to get shot.
He wanted the vaccine.
Yeah, so, and unfortunately, he didn't.
Missed it by that much.
Yeah, he missed it. So tonight's dedication to the memory of the great Tommy Tiny Lister, better known as Deebo. Right on. And rest in power, man. And so, in his honor, thanks to Berto from Reppin' LVNV, our guest that we had a couple weeks ago, who has the apparel company here in Las Vegas.
The dude with the cool t-shirts.
Yes, Raider fan business owner. We support them folks, all right? He brought over, as you remember, some punche.
Look at this.
Which is a drink that is celebrated in the Latino culture, particularly the Mexican culture.
Does he make it?
Around holiday. And of course, Mr. Cesar, his father-in-law, is the proprietor of this particular brand, and also the man who does the shining.
Get the label
so
up
to
there
speak.
close. Nice.
Well, they're not going to really be able to see
Yeah,
it too
you get
good,
it, huh?
but we'll show it up there. But we're going to have a little bit of this punche in honor of Deebo.
You got ice?
Oh, yeah. We got to have it on ice. Bertle said.
You got our own in-house bartender here.
Yes. So let's do what Bertle and his wife Lily said. We're going to turn this upside down a little bit.
What does that
Shake
do?
it up.
Right.
Just
Does that get all the good stuff?
All the guava, all the fruit that is in
All the
here.
little chunks and nooks and
Yes.
crannies.
There's guava, I think. And
Little
they
floaty things.
All right. Little floaty thing.
Yeah, that's what it is,
Ladies
right?
first, we're going to
right.
all have a shot in honor of Deebo
Deebo
and whoever else would like to. Stone. Little punche for you.
You know,
Yes,
people,
yes.
I like
you know,
punche.
Yeah, a little punche.
Punche.
I like punche
Got to
too.
stir the ice around, get
I
a little
like
chili
panocha
going.
too.
This.
Mucho panocha.
Oh wow, it's got a wonderful aroma.
Oh, a nice aroma.
Goodness.
Anyway, to Tommy Tiny Lister Jr. and
Deebo.
to some of our other fallen luminaries, here's some punche for you.
Yes.
Ooh. Nice bite.
Wait a minute now.
Right? Wait a minute
That was
now.
my first one.
Ugh.
It's about that second one.
When
The
they said
Right.
they said be careful with it now.
But it's
Said
something
be
that can
careful,
go
cheers.
down fast.
first one was a little
said-
taste. The second was more of a consumption. And guess what? I
this
love.
is
I think I
great.
love.
It's got kind of a
punche.
nectar, a fresh
Right.
nectar
I definitely taste the alcohol.
kind of
It is refreshing.
body.
Yeah, we're gonna
to
need
it.
this next week, by the way.
nectar type
I don't
body
think we
to it.
even promoted this yet, but we'll promote it
Oh yeah,
now.
go ahead and do that.
Speaking of Puche, next week, tonight's show 11. It goes to 11, as Nigel Tufnell would say on Spinal Tap. So, but next week, next show, we are show number 12. Ironically, 12 days of Christmas, 12 disciples. Well, we're going to do the show number 12, the Raider Fan Radio Christmas Show. And you're all invited.
All right.
Silver and black holidays are coming to you.
And ponche comes in different flavors too. So once we down this,
Oh, we'll have more Puche for next week?
We got
Speaking of the holidays, for those of you out there that are looking for some gifts, ideas, or options for your
I'm just
loved
looking for
ones,
gifts.
You're just looking for gifts. You can
me.
log on to flowerchild.guru.
Yes.
Okay, and flowerchild.guru is the home of organic and holistic body products. All right, and they're handmade with care and holistic funkiness. All right, flowerchild.guru, where you can free your body and your mind will follow
Yes.
with some great products that include natural soaps, organic bath gels, bubble baths, salt and soaks, lotions, creams, body butter, and aromatherapy candles. That's flowerchild.guru. And make sure you inquire about their holiday specials. Christmas is coming, Kwanzaa is coming, Hanukkah's past, but hey, you can always give it late. And of course the new year. We want to bring in the new year, 2021, after what's happened in 2020.
Yeah, we need a
with
new
a
year.
lot of festive and a lot of love, and of course a lot of beautiful aromatic smells to yourself. Okay, so that's Flower Child, and hit them at flowerchild.guru. Flower Child, the organic and holistic body product company, handmade with love and care and holistic funkiness. That's flowerchild.guru. All right, check them out for the best. All right, in organic body products. Free your body, and your mind will follow.
If you, and you know you do, want us to pimp your shit on RaiderFanRadio.Vegas, just contact us at RaiderFanRadio@gmail.com. And of course, you can like and subscribe and just keep enjoying the show. Let us know what's going on, man. Contact us. We love, like you said, to promote local businesses all around the world. We are on the internet. We're YouTubers.
Yes.
Look at us. We're YouTubers.
Look at you.
Look at you.
Look at you.
Look at you.
You're a YouTube watcher.
and you got to get yourself some ponche too, because
That's right.
this, I'm telling you, This is where it's at, and I suggest this at every party.
Where do I get this Puche?
You get it with Mr. Cesar, but you can also contact RaiderFanRadio@gmail, and we'll put you on the
We'll work a little thing.
back line.
Right.
We'll work a situation.
This is a very special.
It's all about a situation, man.
Very special underground product. It's exclusive.
It is exclusive.
And you got to know us to get some.
Raider Fan
So
Radio
since you all know us, if you like some, but it's very good. Very good. Like I said, some of your best guava type nectars with a little
this is
shot of
really-
alcohol in it.
Yeah.
This is what time, and they also say it's recommended you put a little cinnamon in it and what have you. You can heat it up too. So yeah. We're going to the land with
Puche.
this. Yeah, more Puche. Puche for the holiday.
I do want people out there, to look into, natural products like at flowerchild.guru and really look at healthy ways to heal from coronavirus or any of the other viruses or bacteria out there. There was a doctor that boldly came on recently and said vitamin D, it helps with the coronavirus. Vitamin C does also. Nutrition cannot be forgotten in its power to heal. And so please don't think that taking a vaccine is going to heal you of anything. What it does is it puts the dead virus in you so that when you come in contact with it, you can then, fight it off because you have the antibodies for it. That's how vaccines work. They're not a cure.
Don't be a killjoy so close to
I
Christmas.
had to because
Hey,
you said
she's Dr. Black Hole Steph.
Listen,
She's got to
check
get the
this
word
out.
out there. Speaking of vaccinations.
There are people who live the conventional American life, and I don't besmirch you for it. I'm getting too old to even care, man. It's up to you. But there is a vaccination. This is Vaccination Nation time. They're rolling out a vaccination from Moderna, Pfizer. It's already making its way across the country. You ain't got to take it if you don't want to. No one has to take it if they don't want to.
I mean, yeah,
That's what they
But,
say for now.
I got to get back to the money. All right? I got to
Right.
get back to the money, man, and I got to get back to my life. And we all understand there's a lot of propaganda in all of this. We've lived, myself, 50 plus years of propaganda in this country. All right, AIDS.
Raider Fan Radio exclusive.
First you were supposed to get AIDS from a toilet seat, then it was and now
There's always
again,
some,
like I said at the beginning of
some
this one,
tragic
yeah,
thing to be
they'll
fearful
make
of.
it livable. And I understand your discontent and and all that.
Well,
and
I'm
I
just
also
saying vitamins
appreciate
work
your
too.
advocacy. Yeah, well, they're not going to work in the next 3 weeks, in the next 2 months, in the next 5 months. Well, we need to get back to this country being on track and people living. And so we've been living with AIDS.
Okay.
We've been living with cancer. Well, it's not okay to me. I ain't taking shit. I don't
I'm
need to
not
get
either.
inoculated. So I'm not worried about it. I haven't been sick in this last 10 months, and Stone hasn't. We've been sitting here maskless. We're fine. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I know how to
okay.
manage my life against the bullshit out
Is this
here in the
COVID,
world.
Puche? Is it good for
But
COVID?
I'm saying to those that are out there living a conventional lifestyle, yeah, you can heed her advice and her warning, but also those of you who want to take it, it's out there, it's rolled out, and there are going to people that are going to take it. You
The
want to call them?
faster they take it, the faster things will
We can
move
get back to life.
forward. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because,
sure.
I don't believe all the stories that were around it to begin with. I personally know how it got
I
here.
still believe in the
And I don't
pandemic.
mean personally, I personally have the answer, but we all saw how it got here. We all saw how it rolled out if you were paying
China.
attention. We all saw who were on them fucking cruise ships. Okay, so, and it weren't fucking Chinese on those cruise ships. So this is what I mean. So, but he doesn't have to take it, so he doesn't have to deal with that reality. I ain't got to take the shit. I ain't been sick, so I ain't got to deal with it either. I'm just saying,
To be
there was a
continued.
lot of dishonesty in telling everybody the true origins of it making the Western part of the world and affecting the Western part of the world. A lot of lies and manipulation. And so that's neither here or there now. The bottom line is enough people have caught it where it doesn't matter really where it started now. But there's a vaccination. Good luck, because I got to get back to life, man. I got a strip down here that I need to get to. You know what I'm
miss the
saying?
strip, man.
And my sports
I
books.
miss games. I
My
miss the
buffets.
strip.
I'm missing
The
my buffet, man.
yeah, a
So you're like, take your
buffetless
shots so I
Vegas.
can get back
Take
to
your
life.
fucking shots so I can get back to
We
life,
live
man.
in a buffetless Vegas.
Man, I can't do it, man. I gotta get to the Gold Coast,
Yeah, that's
man.
crazy.
And to the Luxor, man,
That's
and to
not
Green
fun.
Valley and get my shit, man. So anyway, good luck, America, and God bless. We wish you all well, and I hope that it works.
We'll keep rolling out. So anyways, we also got some other things on the line tonight. recently, Brian Gumble from Real Sports Talk did a thing on the super fans of the Raider Nation.
Yeah, Real Sports on HBO. It wasn't just the Raider Nation, but it was a segment they did.
Those other fans don't matter.
Yeah, I hear you.
Although, wait, I have to admit, I like the Cleveland fans. I'm starting to grow.
Do you?
I'm just... Look, the Black Hole will be the first ones to even say they got some of their ideas from the dog pound.
No, we wouldn't be the first ones to say that.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm here. I'm in the fucking Black Hole.
I know, we both are. Yes,
okay?
that was an inspiration.
It's obvious that they were there before us. Yes.
Right, that's all I'm saying. Well, I'm just saying it's nice
But
to
we
see
didn't-
that
we
still
didn't-
going.
no one
I like
took
to
any-
see the dog people.
No,
That's
fuck
what I'm
you.
trying to
You're not
say.
going to misrepresent what we did. We did not. We did not. Wrong button.
See, they agree with me. All of them.
We
Wait.
we did not copy from Cleveland.
We didn't copy from
The
them.
only
They
thing
were
that's a
inspiration.
similarity is that we're in the end zone.
I mean, you would inspiration. It was an
No,
inspiration.
I'm just fucking with you.
I know.
Right.
But anyways,
Yeah, he did a feature. Brian Grumble on his last episode of Real Sports with Brian Grumble on HBO did a good feature, man, on super fans and what a lot of the super fans in different sports leagues, particularly the fall leagues, had to go through, not having their games as an outlet for them. And what was very telling about the story was that he touched on a number of different personal issues with the fans where being a fan and a super fan, so-called super fan, had been therapeutic for them. Bird Lady in Atlanta, who was featured, had a miscarriage with a child, had adopted a child, and had it taken from her after her husband had passed tragically. And the state of Georgia came and took the child back. And so she found an outlet through going to Atlanta Falcon games and finding a family of fans, as we do in these fan cultures
that I
we
understand
have.
big time.
Yeah, by dressing up as Bird Lady. The other one was Clipper Darrell, who I've seen before and seen his posters in L.A. before, but he's a Clipper fan who, became a spokesperson at the same time, recognized by a business in Las Angeles, and he's now their pitch man for a food business there, a fast food chain there. So he went into a realm that I've been a part of, and Stone too, professional fans, where we get paid for our fanship and have been
who's getting
paid
paid?
for
Are you
our
getting paid?
fandom, and I've done endorsements and been in movies and all that shit. So he's on that level of it. And then, of course, some of our favorites were featured, and particularly my old compadre and our friend Rilla, Mark Acasio, who talked about some of the personal that I'd already known about through my years of being his friend. But, first time publicly he had spoken on some of the personal problems he went through growing up. When he was young, and identity issues and racism that he went through and what have you, and how he got attracted to dressing up in costumes. His aunt that took care of him growing up worked at a seamstress and a costume company, and she would bring home different costumes and stuff like that, and he would dress up, and that's how he got into being Gorilla Rilla.
I would say, and I think that Gorilla Rilla is the most famous costume fan on the planet. And I'm not just saying that because he's a Raider fan, although I am saying that because he's a Raider fan or part of Raider Nation. But more to the point is that he's literally global.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been going to games around the world.
He's coming here every week.
After week.
He's coming here every week, even though there's no game.
Yeah, he goes to, he'll be doing an appearance, and he doesn't appear. I mean, how many fans out there? I mean, Gorilla Rilla's turned into like an Elvis. The way he walks into the building and as the gorilla, and they circle. I've seen it, and I love it. I mean, I'm seeing, like you said, our friend that we've known for all these years, where the guy in the gorilla suit was just some crazy guy in a gorilla suit dying in a million degrees weather under that gorilla suit, sweating his ass off, and he's parlayed that. But I think with all the right intentions, because I do know him as a person, and I know his personality and just how he is. He's a great person.
And what we said a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about him on the show, when we did the Darth Vader dedication to David Prowse, where Stone says, I don't like when, costume characters are shown.
Yeah, you don't want to see their secret identity.
Or he did show himself on this one. They all did. They revealed themselves. And I hadn't seen him, like I said, in years as himself.
Right,
so my last description of him, I take that back now. He has gained the weight back. He's got bigger. He's cut his hair since I last saw him as Mark, and so it was good to see you, Rilla. And of course, Banjo Man was on there. Stacey Samuels from the Bay, who's been Banjo Man for 30 plus years, along with Crazy George. They used to play the banjos at the A's games, and I grew up with them. And before I left the Bay Area, I did a radio thing with him, a little battle of the fans on I forgot what the radio station was over there. The sports.
KMBR.
It was a KMBR. It was KMBR. Yeah, some show there before I left. But what's up, Banjo Man, and of course, Rilla.
I think they stepped up the game for all these new fans that are doing their costume thing. I always think it's cool. I like to see all the different creative individuals putting together their costume and their identity out there. And with Raider fans, it seems like there's a new one every week. Some of them I like more than others, but they're out there. God bless you.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a lot to become a Gorilla Rilla in the sense that he's someone that you could certainly look up to as far as what they've done with it, why they do it,
right,
and what they've turned it into,
right.
And it's just part of the whole spectacle of everything. But at the same time, too, the more popularity you get, the more you're on the spotlight.
Yeah,
right. They want to know who you are.
Right.
You're a Brian Gubble and all that.
Right.
So I'm just saying, there's not that many guys or girls that you could say that are the ones who's there are the ones that we know that have paved the way, carved the path for that. But like I said, now that there's so many new ones out there right now, I'm just saying, there's something there to look at. There's more than just wearing the costume and going out and taking pictures. That's all fun and stuff, but once you want to start getting involved with other things, community-wise, with the team, with the fans on a bigger level, it's just amazing how it's gone. But like you also said too, when you talked about the bird lady, the therapy for the person, the individual, where it does give you that sense of getting to be part of something big, a community. You're
gonna say stuff?
Well, I was just going to say just about him transcending the game.
Yeah.
Just a lot of just like you're saying, he's bigger than that. He is somebody that does charity work, community events, and that's something that was part of the Black Hole and the South Shield. Also from the beginning, it's part of who we are as Raider Nation. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. We give back, and he is just transcended that. He is a celebrated, entity and spirit. And
he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That's right.
That's as big as it gets.
Right along with Raider Moore. And that's what I mean by transcending all of it. Just the knowledge and everything. It's just bigger. You're bigger than just the game.
Right. Also, a shout out to here I go. Why do I
need to wash that down with some good check?
I don't know. You know what? The spices at the bottom, when you get the after spice at the bottom, is really good. That's very tasty.
Shout out! Want to give a shout out to Sarah Fuller, first female to. Why you want to shoot her?
I don't want to shoot her. I was just going to shot out.
That was a shootout.
Yeah.
You did a shout out. Right. You did a shootout.
Yeah, I did. Okay.
Who this past season was the first female.
That's okay. We can sit and watch you cough all night long.
Teach and song. Yeah.
She was the first female football player in the NCAA to get a point this past week.
A chick kicker?
Yeah, Sarah Fuller for Vanderbilt.
When did they start having chick kickers?
They've had a few. They've had a few. One was unfortunately tied up in a scandal in Colorado years ago where she was sexually assaulted, but she was also on the team, Kathy Hiedra. But Ms. Fuller was the first female in NCAA Division I men's football to kick an extra point and score a point. So big applause there. As I caught my rage out. I'm sorry, Sarah.
You need to bring your drink or something. Yeah, poor Sarah. What kind of honor is that? You want to take a drink of something else?
Woo! Okay.
Wow.
The other day, I just saw this video of this kid in high school. I'm sure you could elaborate because you know what I'm talking about.
What's that?
It was a high school kid who went out and put a big hit on the referee.
Oh, yeah.
Smacked him on the ground, man. Yes. Nailed him.
Yes.
He was called for, I know he was called for unnecessary roughness or something like that. and the kid didn't like it. This is a big kid, and he just goes and just. What the hell is that? And then he starts coughing all over me again.
Right,
You're gonna give me the COVID, dude.
He got ejected from the game.
And
then he came back and hit the ref.
I mean, he didn't just hit the ref. He came running from across the field, from
And
the sideline, and
ref.
tackled the ref.
Woo!
High school?
High school.
Oh, he done fucked up his college chance.
He got kicked out. He got kicked out, I think, for the rest of the season.
He did. He's
suspended.
Yeah, he is suspended.
Hey, kid.
But it just goes to the kids these days. I mean, that's pretty
The kids these
ballsy.
days.
That's more than ballsy. That's just like
Kids
taking
these
it by
days.
the reins and going for it.
There were a couple times I had to be held back in the black hole during the 2000s
A couple
for running out
times?
on the fucking field. Okay, particularly the night where they allowed the Chargers, who we play in a couple of days, to come in on a Monday night with Sean Murray and them and stomp all over our logo.
They did.
I was so close to jumping over and going to the blowjob judge and one of the side judges and getting in their ass. I've thought about it a couple of times, but because of my reputation, I know I'd be thrown out of Coliseum, never allowed to return and shit like that. But I'm with you, kid. The referees will piss you off. We want it from. I've been wanting to jump through my TV some fucking time.
This is Emmanuel Duran. He's a defensive lineman for Edinburgh High School in Texas.
Way to go,
Watch him
man.
be a Raider.
And he was suspended from interscholastic.
Intergalactic?
That's what I wanted to say, right? He's suspended from all intergalactic experiences. And this is the University Interscholastic League. So he got suspended.
I know this. He was a big, mean kid.
UIL.
And I saw the future of the silver and black and the shield on his head.
See him being a Raider, huh?
I saw him being a Raider, man. He's the kind of guy. I mean, he's the kind of guy that Al Davis would have definitely smiled and said, "I got my eye on you, kid."
Well, it happens, man. It
Goes to
happens.
Al Davis. He sees all.
In the Division I ranks, another shout out to Arizona State junior running back Jackson Hsieh. Okay, he is a junior running back at Arizona
Hsieh.
State. Yes, he's the first Chinese-born player in the FBS to score a touchdown.
Nice.
He scored a 2-yard touchdown against Arizona over the weekend, and his name. His last name is written in Mandarin on his jersey. That was hella cool. It's written in Mandarin. And he said that he loves playing football and he wanted to show that, quote, Chinese can ball too, end quote. And he says he calls his O-line the Great Wall.
Oh, damn.
That's cool.
But
Great Wall.
Shout out to Jackson. And you know what? He's a pretty sizable back. Well, somebody need to be thinking about him possibly next year if he comes out. Keep your eye on him, and not just for the Raiders, but NFL talent, period.
He's a running back?
Yeah, he's a running back / fullback. But the kid, the kid can hit.
He's got a big smile. He's always happy.
Personality, but he can play. He is athletic, so just something to think about as, the cultural changes happen in society, also happening in sports. So big ups to him and the Chinese community.
Life is sports. There's another Asian man that we talked about last week. I think it was show 10 or it might have been show 9.
Yeah.
I think it was show 9 where we did sort of like a little dedication to Tony Hsieh.
Mm-hmm. Wait, Tony Hsieh.
He's
Zappos.
Zappos.
They make shoes, right?
Right.
They made
Shoes.
shoes. He sold his company for $1.something billion a couple years ago to
Amazon.
Amazon.
And he died by smoke inhalation?
It was smoke inhalation, but just the stories coming out more and more that he was just into some real unhealthy things, like
some kinky shit.
He was
What do you mean by unhealthy?
like in the fire and
broad
into
brush.
nitrous oxide and. He was just experimenting a lot.
A lot of mugs are doing that lately, yeah.
He had so much
liked drugs?
money. He liked drugs.
Oh,
he
yeah.
liked partying.
Yeah.
And that was part of his atmosphere at Zappos. He wrote a book called Delivering Happiness. It was a bestseller, but his philosophy in terms of how he ran his company and how he managed people was to let them be free to be themselves and be creative.
Right.
But also if there was a party going on, they were going to party and they were going to do, shots and have a good time.
In
and there
Vegas?
was music right here in Vegas.
Sounds like I might have wanted to work for him, or at least with him.
I would have loved to have worked for him, but he was somebody that seemed to really be challenged by just the fact that he was alive, and the pandemic didn't help him. Just having to close off from people and be away really did have an effect on him.
And he just bought over
drug use.
$300 million worth of property here in southern Utah.
Right, Park City.
Yeah, Park City, up above Salt Lake City, northern Utah. He had bought all this property, and he had some plans for building some type of village up there and what have you.
Right, he was going to do revitalization like he did in Las Vegas. In Park City, Utah.
Right.
But he was doing things like starving himself, trying to see what his body could go without.
Wow.
So he deprived himself of oxygen. He deprived himself of food. He tried not to urinate. He tried not to sleep.
But he kept fucking though.
That didn't save him though. That didn't help him.
They said he was having little sex parties and shit like that.
When you're a billionaire, you own Zappos. What else are you?
But when you're a billionaire, man, why are you trying to kill yourself and doing all this kind of shit?
I know. Maybe he just ran out of other regular things to do.
It sounded like
too much money.
When you've done it all, and you got so much money.
Right.
It's something. It's like something that just keeps going. The bar just keeps setting higher. You're always thinking outside the box more and more and more.
This kid, Tony,
and he's young.
Tony Hsieh was a multi-millionaire in his 20s.
Right.
Because he first sold his company to Microsoft.
Right.
I think it was called Link Exchange.
Doesn't Microsoft own everything?
Yeah, now they do.
Everything.
MSNBC. But he got $265 million out of that deal when he was in his 20s. So he's been living with a lot of money, and he took it serious. He helped a lot of people, but at the same time, it did seem like he was bored, with all those millions. And a 26-day diet where he would do each letter was a day of alphabet. So you have all A foods, all B foods, foods that start with C. I mean, that's somebody
weird.
that's bored.
That's really bored, yeah.
That's so sad.
Or it could be a massive order of...
C is crab.
Right.
It's not hard.
Cookies.
C is
for cookies.
D is Dungeness crab.
Oh, man.
Okay.
E is eggs.
E is edamame or eggs. Eggs are edamame.
Eatable crabs.
F is
fried crabs.
Fried crab is a good one. Fettuccine.
Okay.
Yeah, this could go. Come on, man. He just was eating wrong.
Right, he was doing
when he got to the sea, did he eat cockroaches or some shit? What the fuck was he doing?
Whatever he was doing, he ain't doing it no more.
I know, 46 years old, all that money, and his family's going to take over his estate and hook him up.
And fuck it up and be broke in 5 years. And
another guy that comes to mind too, we were talking about the movement. It's always the ongoing,
movement?
Continuing
What do you
story.
mean by the movement?
The movement to be free to have as much herb as you want.
Yes, I like that movement.
A guy by the name of Richard DeLisi, who's now 71, was sentenced to a 90-year prison term for a 1989 marijuana trafficking check down. He had 100 pounds of herb from Colombia that he brought into Florida. And they put him away for 31 years. And he just got out.
31 years. Jeez.
So there's a project called the Last Prisoner Project that's trying to get people out of prison that have been put in jail for nonviolent crimes, particularly marijuana or cannabis. And you think about, what was the dude for the play with the Cowboys? Nate
Newton.
Nate Newton.
Running around with 700 pounds of marijuana.
And there's people that
Bam
are still
Morris.
After he was a football star.
Bam Morris. Well, Nate Newton's out now, but Bam Morris was another one, yeah.
Right, that have been locked up for cannabis. And now that it's legal in most states and you can pretty much have it, you need to let everybody out that's in prison for cannabis.
I agree.
Yeah, that's
I
real
concur.
talk. Yeah.
Let them all out.
Let them go. Let them go.
Free them now.
They just let a bunch of people out of jail because of COVID. I mean, it was like record numbers when the pandemic first started. I wonder what that was all about. They let all these prisoners out And you still got all these stoners or people that are busted for weed-related incidents that are pretty much like meaningless at this point.
Right.
Yes. Let them go. They should be one of the top on the list.
Right.
At least that's what I'm advocating for.
Right.
Yeah, we're all with it, man.
Because I might be there one day. You might have to let me free. You might have to let me go.
Stone doesn't want to be 1 in 5.
No.
Let him go.
Well,
Let me go.
The feds will make marijuana legal one day soon across the board. And
then everybody will be, what do you call it, retroactive. Let them go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's it.
Before we roll out of here, folks, we got to say that the Raiders on Thursday will be playing the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles. And they'll be coming to town with Justin Herbert, a young quarterback who is continuing to impress, as I've been saying most of the season. You know, this is another test for this team, 7-6. This is a division rival. Be nice to beat them. We get to see what Rod Marinelli does as far as adjusting and tweaking the defense. And,
And quickly after that, you got the Dolphins, and then you got to go to Denver. And I can say this pretty much from what I'm thinking about now, just as a fan. Regardless of what happens, just go out and win games. In other words, one game to the next. I don't want to hear an excuse that there's no tanking,
no apologies, no
or
excuses.
Falling to the wayside because you think all hope is lost. You got to go out there and win every single game. It is 60 minutes.
Still mathematically in it.
16 games.
Still mathematically in it.
And no matter what happens at the end of the season, that's where the big decisions are made anyways to see who's going to stick around. So you better play your ass off if you want to stick around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
what's
the coaches will know who wants to stick around. They'll figure that part out.
That's what's up.
Right.
I say it's going to be a tight game myself, and I look for the Raiders hopefully to prevail 21-14. I say over the Chargers. I think our defense will look a little different, but I'm looking for the offense again to try to be explosive and to stay with that throughout the game. Better decision making offensively, and Raiders, Chargers, Allegiant Stadium, the Death Star, Thursday night football.
I'm going to say, I'm actually going to say, like, okay.
You got scores now? This time the score wasn't solicited.
I know.
But now you got a score.
Yeah, I don't feel the pressure so much.
Look at your crystal ball.
Right, it's like, what more could they not do? So I think this time they'll snap out of it and they will have a at least 34. I think they could score 34 against the Chargers. And I'll say the Chargers will probably have 21. But it'll be a decisive win for the Raiders.
33-21 is what you're calling it?
Yeah, 33-21.
33.
My money's on black and silver.
I know that's right. Hey, before we out of here, just want to give prayers up to a man that was one of the great NFL Hall of Famers and a great Denver Bronco, although a rival of the Oakland Raiders for many years. And I grew up knowing who he was, and a lot of us do, a legend in the National Football League and a great man all around. He is a member of our community here in Las Vegas, the Green Valley, South Las Vegas Hills area, and I ran into him a lot over the last year or so. And in one exchange, when I told him I see you around all the time, he said, "Yeah, I see you too. I know who you are." And that's the great Floyd Little, the running back for the Denver Broncos back in the 60s and 70s. He has entered a hospice care facility here in Las Vegas. He's been sick for the last year. And I think I saw his wife sometime last week when I was at one of the Vons here near where they live in Green Valley. But I just want to send prayers up to you, Mr. Little, and to the Little family. And I hope somehow you can recover. Maybe there's a miracle there, but hospice is always a dicey thing. But just a great man, great football player. Had many great battles against the Raiders. I remember when I was a young kid being the star running back for the Broncos along with Otis Armstrong. So, and like I said, last year or so, I've seen him a number of times here, in the area. And he's good guy, man. Good guy. And we wish you well, Mr. Little. Get well, sir.
Yes, please.
Well, we wish you well. We'll see you next week at Show 12. Don't forget, that's the Raider Fan Radio Christmas show. So we'll see y'all there. We'll try to have a little bit of a Christmas party, some surprises, maybe some guests. We don't know. It'll be like one of those It'll be like one of those company office parties, where Black Hole staff will sit on the copy machine You know,
Oh, shit.
give a little Christmas card to everybody.
Right.
You know, something like that. You never know.
Never.
It could happen.
Never know. All right.
Join us and see.
Make sure, to be continued. Make sure you like and you subscribe and you stick with us and hang out. And of course, if you want to contact us for any of the things we talked about tonight or at all, or if you have some ideas, thoughts, concerns, anything you want to say to us, you can make sure you contact us at RaiderFanRadio@gmail.com. Later, Raider.
Stay Raider.
Poochie for life, baby.
Ooh, yeah, Poochie.
Okay.
The views and opinions of RaiderFanRadio.Vegas, RaiderFanRadio.com, and RaiderFan Radio Media are not the views and opinions of the Las Vegas Raiders, Al Davis Football, Inc., or the National Football League. RaiderFanRadio.Vegas is an independent media source.